ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
She climbs and she flies! She flies over!
Still raises hairs on the back of your neck, doesn't it? Nina Kennedy's gold medal in Paris was something to behold. And since then, it's been pretty tough times for the West Australian. Hamstring issues plagued her 2025 campaign and ultimately stopped her going to the World Championships. This weekend, she's back in action in the Maurie Plant meet. She's talking to us about how that time away has shifted her mentality. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Nina Kennedy is an Olympic champ. She's gearing up for the Maurie Plant meet in Melbourne that's coming up this weekend. Nina, you've had a really rough 12 months, hamstring challenges throughout 2025, it meant you missed not just one world champs, but two really, one indoor, one outdoor. So it's awesome that you're gearing back up into competition. I just wanted to know, how hard has that been, that 12 months?
Yeah, wow, great question. Let's just get straight into it,
We're not here to mess around.
Tell us everything. Yeah, it's been challenging. It's been difficult. I've been really lucky with my career. I've never really had a major injury, major setback, never missed a whole season. So to kind of have my first one, which what it feels like, it was kind of bound to happen. So I try to make the most of it. Normally every European season we're on the plane, 3 months in Europe, 4 months in Europe, living out of a suitcase. So I actually just try to enjoy some time at home. I got a dog. I did things I wouldn't normally do. So I tried to find the best in a bad situation.
Sounds like you tried to almost reframe it and sort of, rather than dwell on the missed opportunities here or there, taking a much more positive outlook. Were there other things, beyond, becoming a doggy mama that you sort of set yourself towards that you found particularly rewarding that helped you sort of evolve as a person?
Good question. Yes and no. And I think it's a very much an athlete thing. We have a very growth mindset, I think, because we're taught we have to in individual elite sport. You can't really dwell on things for too long. And don't get me wrong, missing those world champs in Tokyo in, the end of 2025, I tried so hard to get there and I had put months and months and months of preparation into it. And to obviously not get there, it broke my heart, and you dwell on it for a few days, but I was able to look back on that preparation and say, you know what, I did everything I could. I controlled the controllables, and I'm really proud of what I did.
So much of being a pro athlete, it must be just tied up in results. And this is a period of time where that is just off the table. So I assume you've just got to try and focus on the process. Is that kind of jarring in the sense that you're so used to tying the work that you're putting in to the outcome, whereas it has to sort of almost invert?
For sure, and I've done a lot of work on redefining what my definition of success is, right? So, as young athletes or young students or whatever, we're taught first, second, third, and that's success. And it's not about, there's other measures of success, right? There's enjoyment, there's making memories, there's challenging yourself, there's going through the process, like you said. So 2025 it really challenged me. I knew the concept intellectually, but to actually live it out and be able to say, my definition of success was being able to say I did my rehab perfectly, and to be able to say I left nothing to chance and I did everything I could, and I said yes, and unfortunately I still didn't make it. So to be able to say, Nina, that is your definition of success, but this time you don't get a medal, it's quite jarring, but I think it's a really, really important concept that athletes need to learn.
You don't strike me as the sort of person who loves sitting around waiting to heal either. I can't imagine that you're a sit around and chill sort of person.
It's funny you say that because I'm the most chill person ever. I loved it. I love just letting my body heal itself.
Tell me about your mum, who's been a bit of a favourite for us on this podcast. You once referred to Gwenda as the baddest bitch going round, which I thought was some of the most wonderful description I've heard of a parent ever. And during this period, I assume that she's someone you got to spend a lot more time with. Did she give you any advice during that period to try and help you get through it?
Damn, I can't believe I actually said that. Like, I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. That's something I say, like, when I'm not talking to the media, and then sometimes I forget. I'm like, oh, yeah, I said that to the media. Whoopsies. But you're right. I say I try to do things that I wouldn't get to do normally when I'm traveling Europe. So I actually just got to spend a lot more time with my mom and just going away on holiday with her and just, like, spending quality time. Did she give me any advice? Not really, but she kept up with the Diamond Leagues and she kept up with what all the girls were doing, and she wouldn't, be afraid to send me a text saying, the girls are jumping well.
I was going to say, did you find, obviously it's so different, like that year to every other year of competition you've had. Did you find it at all, on any level, more rewarding than competing all the time?
I wouldn't say more rewarding. Oh, you know what? It's like how you measure that year, right? Maybe not more rewarding, but it definitely taught me a lot. And it taught me lessons that you're only going to learn when you're going through something like that, right? So rehabbing solo in an individual sport and, going through the grind and the monotony, like, to be your own biggest fan, like, it taught me that.
Is it lonely?
It taught me how to read. Yeah, like, it's so lonely, right? Like, obviously you have your, small team around you, but yeah, you just learn lessons that you otherwise wouldn't have learned. So rewarding, I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, it taught me a lot, that's for sure.
Back on track, I should say, in Perth just a month ago. And geez, you didn't mess around, did you? Straight into winning, beat the Japanese national champ despite only doing a half run. I think that's 8 steps. I'm sure you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but clearing 4.47 metres. I mean, you must have got a whole lot of belief from that, just doing a half run in and still being able to do that completely clean scorecard. Must have been pretty empowering.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely start to second guess yourself after having such a long time off. I think it was a year and a half between competitions. So even just going through that competition warm up and, the call room and all those things that, almost felt so foreign to me, it was a little bit nerve wracking, and you doubt yourself, am I going to remember how to do this? And am I going to be as dominant as, I love to be? But honestly, once I got out there, especially in Perth, my home track, my home crowd, it's muscle memory, and it was a really nice reminder of, like, stop doubting yourself, like, you're a champion for a reason, you know how to do this with your eyes closed. So I just try to have fun and a clean scorecard, which I really pride myself on, and the win, and I actually couldn't have been happier with Perth.
What does success look like for you at the Maurie Plant, mate?
So I was off on a half run up in Perth, and I will be off like a 3/4 run up in Maurie Plant. So not my full approach that, you'd see me doing at the Olympics or a Diamond League. We're dotting our I's, we're crossing our T's, we're doing everything we can. So we're not trying to be greedy. Maurie Plant is a really big meet, but it's definitely not, on the Diamond League, Commonwealth Games scale. So we're being safe, 3/4 run up. Success looks like I'd love to jump a personal best off that approach for me. Go out there, have fun. It's such a great atmosphere. And, like I said before, training can be so monotonous and it can be so boring sometimes. So to actually go out there, put a smile on your face, look at the crowd, enjoy the atmosphere. Enjoyment is a big part of what I'm trying to take through to this LA campaign.
Is the Com Games the big ticket item for 2026?
It's one of them. The Diamond League circuit is definitely how us athletes, we make our money.
Nina Kennedy's second attempt at 4 metres 85 in this pole vault. Kennedy nails it.
All the Diamond Leagues, the Diamond League final, the Commonwealth Games, and then this year, the World Athletics, they're starting this thing called the Ultimate Championship. So there's one competition at the end of the season, and it's the biggest prize pool for an athletics competition ever. So hopefully I have some energy left in the tank for that one.
You mentioned LA before, and I was intrigued to see in an interview around Tokyo that you were speaking about only having a few years left. And I sort of read that and thought, is LA the sort of final stop on the Nina Kennedy journey? Is that the way you're kind of framing it up?
No, I'm not. Maybe I once was, but I'd love to go back to back in LA. And there's something really, really drawing me to a home games. I think if it wasn't in Brisbane, I might hang out the Spikes, but there's something very enticing about Brisbane 32. And honestly, when I kind of say to myself, I might have, let's say I was finishing after LA, I might have a few years left. That really, it doesn't scare me, but I don't think I've reached my potential in the sport. And I think I still have a lot more to give. And in a weird way, it kind of just feels like I'm just getting started. in a way. It's a really nice way to feel. So nothing is off the cards yet.
Pretty exciting for track and field fans to hear you thinking about Brisbane 2032. Is it something that is sort of taking hold of the entire community, the entire athlete community, that you guys are sort of all realising, look, it's far, 6 years, but sooner than you think, particularly if you get to LA, is it something that's fueling a lot of you?
Oh, for sure. Especially the younger generation, that like Brisbane Olympics, like it's just going to be the best opportunity for on so many levels. And going through, my whole career, and the only time I've ever competed at home in front of a home crowd, really for a big event, was the Commonwealth Games 2018. And that was my first kind of global competition. And at the time, I didn't realize the significance of a home games is so special. It was the 25th anniversary of obviously the Sydney Olympics last year, and they had this documentary on the TV, and I watched it and I was just like welling up, and I was like, this is just so special. Yeah, hopefully the young ones like realize that this is kind of like a once in a career generation kind of opportunity. Just the roar of the crowd is something like you will just never forget. And those are the memories that stick with you.
You're really just thinking, though, in the short term or medium term, I'll just get to LA and then I'll figure it out after? Or do you have to, like, with what you do, being so specific and so technical, are you really planning 6 years out? Like, do you have to kind of be doing that?
You definitely do, especially at my age. Longevity is a really important thing. So, just for an example, with my hamstring surgery, we didn't take the approach of let's rush back for words. It was let's take the approach of let's rehab this correctly. Let's think about longevity. Like, that is the goal. So, I'm 28. And, I'm not as young as I used to be. And just changing my training program around with longevity in mind, less taxing on the body, less impact, and my body's going to thank me for it later.
Can I ask you about Mondo Duplantis? Have you just been enjoying this ride as much as the regular punters have been? Just seeing just the sort of insane things that guy is doing to your discipline seemingly week in, week out?
It's so funny. I love it. And I love that he brings eyeballs to what is not a normal classic event. So people know about the pole vault because of Mondo. I like it because of that.
Nanny, you've been so generous with your time. We're so excited to see you back competing already in Perth, but Maurie Plant will be another level up. It looks like a big year ahead, and to hear you talking about LA and Brisbane, super exciting to see what comes next. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Hope you enjoyed that weekend special. We will be back in your feeds as usual on Monday. Today's episode was produced by Poppy Penny. Thanks to the Olympics and Wanda Diamond League for the extra audio used in this episode.